During the late 1990s, films in the superhero genre were beginning to wane in success. While the Batman franchise initially stood strong, films like The Shadow, The Phantom, and Steel all failed to find success at box office or with critics. Even the Batman franchise itself crashed and burned in 1997 thanks to the catastrophic failure of Batman and Robin. And that exact same year, 1 year prior to the genre being reinvigorated thanks to the success of Blade, one other film, based on an original property, came and went completely unnoticed. And I'm glad it went.
Ho, 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 ho. Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Delightfully Devilish, the show where we discuss films that all want to meet the criteria of being the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your host, Jukebox Harry, and today we're looking at what tried to be a family-friendly superhero science fiction comedy, and it just fucked up everything. Star Kids, a 1997 independent science fantasy superhero film, which was originally titled The Warrior of Waverly Street, but in post-production was changed to be called Star Kid because the producers obviously wanted some of that Star Wars-type box office results. Naturally, it didn't work out. This film bombed. It was written and directed by Manny Coto, the maker of such horror films you've never heard of as Playroom and Dr. Giggles. And if you actually see this film, you'll see a lot of his horror-themed work at play. It stars child actor Joseph Mazzello, who notoriously starred in Jurassic Park 4 years prior as Tim Murphy. And you can see him on the poster. He's got a smile that it's just kind of terrifying. There's some disturbing artificiality about it. The premise of the film is a lonely young boy bonding with an extraterrestrial being and the zany adventures that follow. If that premise sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same plot as Mac and Me, another film that I previously discussed. But let's see if this one actually does anything better. Star Kid kicks off with a word art style title before cutting to a CGI alien transport where a bunch of spaceships come out of a large vagina.
1 year ago, a powerful brood warrior invasion force attacked the planet Trelkas.
Damn bro, that narrator sounds like he's in dire need of a tracheotomy. An evil alien species is attacking a peaceful one, and the pacifists have constructed an experimental prototype cyborg suit to protect them. And the aliens all have faces that really remind me of that alien from Mac and Me. That is a terrible sign. They jettison the suit into space before the story cuts to Earth, where we meet Spencer Griffith, a young boy getting bullied for some reason.
Jeez, talk about attention deficit disorder.
Oh yeah, I remember the late 90s when everything was getting diagnosed as attention deficit disorder. The teacher comes to intercept things.
This isn't the first time you've pulled this kind of thing, but it better be the last.
So this guy has a history of bullying that you're very aware of, and yet you're not really going to do much about it? Yeah, that sounds pretty typical.
Okay,
There's also an arbitrary shot of Spencer in class, and the film transitions into this with the sound of a school bell before that same bell goes off just 39 seconds later.
the tiger moth disappeared. And it's time for you to disappear, so...
I know that school class shouldn't have been 39 seconds long, and they cut in there assuming that the audience would think that we'd cut until the end of the class. But still, you've got to space out those sound effects, people, come on.
Hey, Spence, would you, hang out with me a sec? I need a hand with something.
I have seen many pornographic films that started this way. The film plays around with the idea of Spencer being scared by showing him unable to stand up to his bully, unable to talk to his crush, and then forced to hold a spider. Obviously, they're setting up a story about a guy getting over his fears, but let's see if they actually follow through on this with anything substantial. Spencer gets bullied outside of school, and a surprisingly large amount of Ben & Jerry's that gets left behind gets to be the hero before Spencer runs off and hides in a trash can. Why would you only check the one can? Like, if you are checking trash receptacles, why not check all of them? Spencer has the typical neglectful father who is too consumed with work to spend time with his kids. That, of course, is the plot of Ghost Dad, but don't worry, this film's very different. Although it does actually star another Hollywood rapist. He makes Spencer's sister babysit him for the night when she has plans with her boyfriend.
Whatever. Look, Stacy, I don't have time for this right now. You're just gonna have to reschedule.
Reschedule? Yeah, this isn't a conference call, it's a date!
It is probably much easier to reschedule a date than it is to reschedule a conference. You know, one's business, one's pleasure. Like, I'm on your side here, but still, that's common sense. Spencer's room is also full of copyrighted Marvel material, but since Marvel wasn't such a powerhouse during this period, they managed to avoid any legal trouble.
Little survival tip. Stay out of my way.
She said that after walking into his bedroom, then walked out, and at no point was he actually in her way. So, she's an idiot. Spencer notices something from space entering the Earth's atmosphere, and apparently nobody else does. At his local junkyard, he discovers what's arrived, the Trelkan cybersuit.
Proceed with query.
Yes, this is another one of those movies with a rubber mask that doesn't sync up with the dialogue well at all. You know, when they used a corny rubber mask for Skeletor in the live-action Master of the Universe film, they still had the decency to give the role to Frank Langella, who bolstered it with a campy over-the-top performance. In Star Kid, we're not gonna get that, so don't get your hopes up.
Are you like an alien creature?
Non-factual. I am not biotic in origin.
A robot?
Partially factual.
If you ever actually watch this movie all the way through, drink every time he says the word factual. The suit bends over and invites a child in to bond with it.
Ready to accept biotic host.
What a very Catholic thing to say.
Guess my life can't get much worse.
Classic tee-ups.
Despite Spencer's repeated cries to be released, he is forced into the rear end of this thing against his will.
Let me go! Ah! Somebody! Help!
I didn't realize George Pell designed this super suit. It's so uncomfortable to watch him actually get inside the super suit, but it's nothing compared to the design on the inner face of the suit.
Cybersuit entry complete. Activating view screen array.
It is one fuck of a bummer to look at, I can tell you that.
This is bad comedy.
Check it out. I'm Shaquille O'Neal.
No, you're not Shaquille O'Neal. He was off starring in the film Steel the same year this film was released. Another superhero film which sucked and had a very obvious rubber mask. Spencer's first instinct is to visit his bully who is aggressively rocking it out in a completely stationary car at a garage.
That boy ain't right.
How many times have I told you not to fool around the customer's cars?
Just a few more minutes, Dad.
Now!
Dad, just a few minutes.
Now! I won't have to come back in here again, all right? Just one kid, she says. We can handle one kid. No problem.
Why don't you stick around and make sure your son actually gets out of the customer's car? Like, come on, a neglectful father's the real villain of this film.
Cool cat likes to rock and roll. Cool cat likes to love and sing.
Spencer rocks up and lifts the car up, frantically spinning it around in such a way that they only have to use one lazy shot of him holding the car before throwing it.
Now the free-flying turbo!
Sincerity's overwhelming.
Who are you?
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Spencer scares his bully into spilling a bunch of paint and then tracking it across a customer car because there was obviously no other escape. It's not like he could have run down the side of the vehicle when there was like obviously space there.
Doesn't get any better than this.
It does. It very easily does. He throws his bully in the garbage before jumping atop one of the roofs.
There's a new kid in town.
Well, you're obviously not in town because that is very clear blue screen right there. Also, you're not a new kid. You're the same kid, just inside a cyber suit. And I feel like the premise of this film is going to be that in the end, it's all about who you are on the inside. That sounds like a cacophonous sentimentality this film would exploit. And on the inside, you're still that same annoying kid, so fuck off.
Let's see, who else should I abuse?
I'm sorry.
Who else should I abuse?
Okay, so last week I reviewed Hot Dog the movie, and there was a scene where a woman was rendered unconscious by a bartender and someone said this line.
Now that's a girl I can take advantage of.
And now we have a kid saying, who else should I abuse? People should not talk like this.
Amplify fun.
Fun is doing something that makes you feel good. Like watching Turbo grab his pants.
Have you ever actually seen someone crap their pants? It's disgusting.
Power core overload. Explosion imminent.
Explosion? What explosion? You scared the crap out of me.
What is your obsession with crap? I know that's the naughtiest word you can get away with saying in a 1990s family film, but you're taking all the fun out of it by saying it all the time. Spencer's sister's boyfriend comes over, played by notorious rapist Danny Masterson.
Come outside.
No, I can't. I told you already.
Come on, just for a second. Hurry up, hurry up.
Notice in this scene how he struggles to take no for an answer from a woman? Yeah, that's some pretty dark real-life foreshadowing right there.
You wanna go for a ride?
I can't, Kevin. I told you I'm babysitting the fungus.
Come on. Just go around the block. No one will know you're gone. I wanna break it in with you.
Then Spencer goes to a carnival where Coca-Cola gets some product placement. Spencer tries searching for his crush and accidentally engages the combat system.
Anyway, I started blasting.
Funnily enough, the first thing Joseph Mazzello shoots is a dinosaur, almost like a fuck you to Jurassic Park. Then he just starts blindly firing all over the place. The film makes it clear that the alien suit is doing this all itself, but ironically, as a middle-class white male, Spencer is from the category most likely to engage in a mass shooting. So this moment is probably the most realistic moment in the film, and that's as wrong as it is hilarious. He shoots down his crush and then rescues her.
We better hit the road.
We must strike the asphalt.
I mean, leave! Get out of here!
Recommend escape tactic 1.
Roger.
Who is Roger? My defense systems detected the presence of a hostile biotic.
What? That was Bertha T-Rex, you idiot! A guy in a costume, not some hostile biotic.
The configuration matches a hostile life form found on Helge's 5.
Whoa!
I'm sorry, but an advanced cybersuit which has the ability to read the biological makeup of organisms found that the configuration of a human in a dinosaur costume matched the configuration of another hostile life form that is at war with the species that built it. Yeah, are the Trelkins at war with Barney the fucking dinosaur by any chance? We also get product placement from a place called Rico's Italian Pizza. Jesus Christ, I swear the entirety of this film's budget must have come from product placement. But this film doesn't do it any favors by showing a delivery driver eating the customer's pizza. The driver finds a crashed alien spacecraft, which again, nobody else noticed at any point. And what emerges is a mute alien creature that looks like a rejected Power Rangers villain.
Okay. Nice and easy. Real gentle. Doing good. Excellent.
We are not amused.
Dad's gonna have a cow.
I wouldn't want you to have a cow, man.
Spencer mentions that his mother passed away and his suit shows him a memory of her, just out of nowhere without his consent. You know, for a young emotionally sensitive kid, this could be scarring. But for the film, it could also signify a moment of development in the relationship between the two. Of course, instead, we just get one brief exchange.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And that's it. It doesn't go further with this theme, it doesn't come back to this theme, it just ends at the word thanks. Well, you know what? Thanks for nothing.
Kevin, come on! I gotta get home!
Huh? Why?
Cuz Spencer's at home all by himself!
It's just a little kid.
And once again, Danny Masterson doesn't respect a woman telling him no. Apparently that's his entire arc in the film.
I just realized I'm starving.
Biotic host is not starving.
I'm really hungry, okay?
Also, I have to say, I'm getting really sick of this kid. Joseph Mazzello does the best he can with a poor script, where his role is reduced to just sitting on a stool and staring at the camera the entire time, but the character gets annoying. His immature attitude and repetitive dialogue wear thin on you really fast, and honestly, they don't make him sympathetic enough to override that. Whilst trying to get a piece of pizza from, you guessed it, Rico's Italian Pizza, Spencer accidentally trashes the house. And instead of cleaning it up, he just goes to a local fast food place to collect a hamburger, which he steals. We've got a protagonist who uses his power to abuse people, to shoot up a carnival, to put his crush in danger so he can rescue her, to smash up his house, which he never cleans up, to steal food. When's he gonna be the hero and start doing something good for once? Also, I want to point out this little poster on the drive-thru window. It says, check your receipt for free prize. First of all, that should be check your receipt for a free prize. Second of all, if it's a prize, yeah, it's free. That kind of goes without saying. And third of all, if you have to check your receipt, that means you had to pay for something, which means that prize just isn't free. I know I'm overthinking this, but I'm not wrong. Then there's a really uncomfortable scene where the suit consumes a burger before blending it up and turning it into a little crap nugget, and the suit force feeds it to him. Why is this suit programmed to force feed its host? What kind of sadistic crap is that? Spencer goes off to visit his teacher, somehow knowing her address off by heart as if that's a normal thing, and he puts his hand over her mouth on first encounter while she struggles. Sounds like he learned something from Danny Masterson. And that is some of the worst fake fainting I have ever seen in a movie, taken from the Ghost Dad School of Acting.
It's hallway, it's me!
Oh my god.
No, you can't say that line in this film because extraterrestrial life has been proven by the existence of this cybernetic suit in the film, and most religions say that God can't exist if extraterrestrial life also exists, so there is no God in the universe of Star Kid. Then there's another awkward scene where Spencer's school teacher pries open his battle suit, which can apparently easily be manipulated with a standard screwdriver for the sake of helping him pee. She's his school teacher, and she is coming very close to this child's groin so that she can help him pee. That is not appropriate. And then she actually listens to him pee whilst making a series of facial expressions. Then the rejected Power Rangers villain rocks up.
Ah, missed. Simon says...
Oh no! It's coming back this way!
Spencer finds his weapon system disabled, leading to a physical confrontation between the two. And once again, Spencer finds himself trashing a house. The suit tells Spencer that the alien is a brood warrior, a species destined to wipe out the Trelkin homeworld. Daunted by the idea of engaging in intergalactic combat, Spencer has another idea.
Cheese it!
Robot house!
It's been fun. Mostly.
Ha! Wrong!
Shut up!
Planet Earth will also suffer invasion.
It will?
Brood warriors are extremely reliable.
Are they though? They sent only one of their species to planet Earth to stop a piece of advanced weaponry that a kid using it was able to stop the other alien creature. These creatures aren't reliable at all.
I was doing fine until you showed up.
Fucking liar!
Then Spencer encounters his bully again.
I don't want to do this.
Huh, taking the moral high ground. There's some actual character development.
Well, maybe just a little.
Oh, never mind, I spoke too soon. The two decide to team up and steal a car, so we can add Grand Theft Auto to the list. They get pursued by the cops, who are apparently so incompetent that they crash into what looks like a pool full of urine. And the Brood Warrior starts making use of some really ugly CGI creations. Starkid uses very little CGI, and what it uses is typically decent enough, but in this scene it really shows the budgetary limitations of this messy feature. Spencer re-enters the suit while off-screen and engages in combat with the Brood Warrior. And for a battle between an advanced cyber suit and a planet-conquering alien, this fight could not be less intense or less interesting. And after a while, the alien destroys the suit. So that cyber suit that was going to stop an intergalactic conquest got defeated by one alien from a very incompetent species. Huh. Yeah. Congratulations, you lightly tapped an alien in the head. That's going to make so much difference. Spencer has to continue without the suit. He leads the Brood Warrior into a trash compactor, which he narrowly manages to escape as the alien is crushed off screen. Then the Mac and Me aliens rock up, they regenerate the suit and jettison back to the mothership. And I can't help but wonder how many of their species died during that intergalactic conquest where they didn't have that cybernetic suit to protect them.
1,
No.
2.
No.
Is it 1?
Instantly, all of Spencer's problems are fixed. His dad stops neglecting him, his bully becomes his best friend, and he finds the courage to talk to his crush. The end. Is Starkid a bad movie?
Factual.
Sadly, even the best things you can say about Starkid all come with major drawbacks. Joseph Mazzello gives a committed emotional performance, but his character gets annoying and his dialogue is really repetitive. And for a low-budget film, the production values are decent enough, but while the cybersuit has a decent design, the rubber aesthetics get too obvious thanks to ugly mouth movements and a terrifying inner face. And the visual effects are used sparingly, most of the time being decent enough, but not so much during the final fight. As for the rest of the film, I have nothing objectively favourable to say about the film, and a large amount of that falls down to a director who really shouldn't have been making the movie. Now, remember when crime comedy mastermind Guy Ritchie made the live-action adaptation of the animated musical Aladdin? Remember when gritty filmmaker John Huston was hired to direct an adaptation of the stage musical Annie? And remember when war and western filmmaker Clint Eastwood was hired to direct a film adaptation of the stage musical Jersey Boys? And none of those films felt completely right. Yes, that's because those directors were working outside of their elements. And that's exactly what happened with Manny Coto. He's a man who made horror films that you've never heard of. And way too often, Starkid feels like a horror film. Starkid is one of many films that came out after the success of E.T. the Extraterrestrial and tried to copy the film's central theme about having a lonely child bonding with an extraterrestrial being. Other films like this included Mac and Me, Bumblebee, Earth to Echo, and even 2020 Psycho Goreman. But of all these films, Mac and Me is the one that reminds me of Starkid the most, because both films take that central theme and then do nothing with it. They run in circles and they try to tell really lame repetitive gags that try to fill in for the lack of a story, and it just comes out being an ugly, tonal, inconsistent mess. Starkid stands out from that crowd because it tried to make its child protagonist a superhero, and when you look at that part of the story, it's so similar to Shazam. Shazam is another movie which took a kid and made him into a superhero and made a story about him running around using his powers for his own gain while also contemplating what he should actually do to protect Earth. The only difference is that Shazam did it well. Shazam was funny, it was meaningful, it had a villain who actually felt threatening, and it was the best superhero film of the year, even better than Avengers Endgame in my opinion. If you combine Shazam with not E.T., but with Mac and Me, you'd end up with something kind of close to Starkid. But that's giving it too much credit, because I fucking love Shazam. And when you look at Starkid, the film has the morals of the Garbage Pail Kids movie, a film full of ugly characters who didn't behave properly at all. And in Starkid, the protagonist breaks so many laws and does so many things wrong as I previously listed. Starkid wants to pretend that the cyborg suit is its own character, but the filmmakers don't give it enough personality to actually justify that. And the relationship between the suit and the obligatory lonely child protagonist is forced and underdeveloped. If Spencer was trapped in the suit against his will and it turned him darker and more malevolent, then we'd have a more interesting story and more character development. Of course, that wouldn't be all that child-friendly, but then again, neither is the final product. This is a weird, dark, scattered movie. The jokes in this film never land, but don't be surprised if the visuals actually do frighten you. They'll frighten you more than the alien antagonists do. And as much as you might think it was fun for actor Joseph Mazzello to play a superhero, he didn't actually play that character. That was a stuntman in a suit all the time. Joseph Mazzello's filming was mostly confined to him sitting on a stool, staring at a screen, breaking the fourth wall the entire time. So it sounds like he had as much fun making this movie as we did watching it. As a final note, today's film was recommended to me by Jack Shewan, who says that he feels like the script for this film was a lost Robert Rodriguez script. And I can't agree with him more. If Robert Rodriguez directed this film in the style of Spy Kids or The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, then the movie would be so much more fun. It'd be campy, over the top, funnier, and so ridiculously cheesy in a good way, because he knows how to entertain kids, whereas Manny Coto, he makes horror films that nobody's ever seen. And that just kind of says everything. Star Kid gets 2 extraterrestrial sidekicks out of 10. It's unfunny, unfocused, ugly, and nowhere near as fun as it wants to pretend that it actually is. And that does it for today's episode of Delightfully Devilish, you guys. If there are any movies you want to see me discuss on this show, please leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more episodes of this show, please hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, until next time, I have been your host, Jukebox Harry. Peace.
Let's see, who else should I abuse?